Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soul Seekers podcast, where we believe that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure as we share our mission of mentorship is conservation. To learn more about everything we do, check out our show on Carbon TV or go to soulseekersnation.com. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. This podcast is also proudly brought to you by Onyx Hunt. When I first got into hunting, I kept hearing all about public land and different access and how to find different locations to hunt. I was like, well, how are people even identifying all this stuff? Well, sure enough, I came across the #1 hunting GPS app, and that is Onyx Hunt. If you guys want to get better at hunting and go deeper into your scouting, Onyx Hunt is the #1 GPS app for that. Join the millions of hunters who trust Onyx Hunt to find more game, discover new access, and hunt smarter. It was a game changer for me, and I know it's going to be a game changer for you if you've never used it. If you have used it, you know the power that it holds. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to know more about Onyx, go to onyxmaps.com/hunt and check out their app. Be blessed, freedom on, and stay soulful. All right, guys, if you're in the market for a new hunting rifle this coming year, look no further than a Kelbly's rifle. I've been rocking their Koda rifle for the last couple seasons, and I've had great success with it. It's an amazing shooter, and every time I put one of their rifles in somebody's hands, they're like, oh, I got to get one of these. Kelbly's holds over 92 world and national records that are either broken or set on one of their actions or rifles. So they really set a higher level of accuracy. If you want to know more about Kelbly's rifles, go to kelbly.com. That's KELBLY.com. Tell them Johnny Mac sent you with Soul Seekers, and go enjoy shooting that much more in this coming hunting season. Be blessed, everybody. Go check out Kelbly Rifles. Oh, my gosh. You guys are hilarious. That's not a bad idea, though. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate that,
Hey,
brother.
I've had Austin do it a couple times, and he's taken notes and done stuff like that, and every now and then he'll say that.
Do you mind grabbing a picture of
Hey,
us?
can we get a water? Do we have a water?
50
Awesome,
never looked
brother.
so good.
Thank you.
If you guys put any of that shit on social media, if you tag me, I've only been doing Instagram for almost maybe a year, I guess, but I got 15 posts now. Yeah, dude,
Absolutely.
I got 800 followers.
I just started mine too. Johnny was like, hey, man, you need to start sharing some hunting photos. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never done it.
We'll do the selfie as well.
Yeah, selfie's good.
Was your birthday yesterday?
No, I don't know who and why that all got. No, I don't know what the deal was. My birthday's on the 19th, but somebody told John Bear, the auctioneer, that it was my birthday yesterday. And so he's calling out the whole, happy birthday to Butch Whiting thing and shit. I mean, I was like, okay, I'll just go with it. Yeah. So
It's like when you go to a restaurant, you're like, hey, it's his birthday.
all I know is he's like, Butch, do you want to lead us off at 55,000? And I was like, I sure as hell hope somebody doesn't say, well, no, we don't want to bid a hit against him because it's his birthday.
Right.
And so I'm like, sure. He's like, 55,000. And I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, you're looking around. I understand that.
I have a propensity to talk with my hands.
Yeah.
And so last night I was having a conversation with a guy I want to introduce you to, Ryan McMillan, a Graybow.
I know him well.
Okay, so I was sitting with him, talking with him.
Yeah.
He's a good buddy of mine. And we're talking, and we're like this, and we're like, oh, we better actually sit on our hands here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to walk away with.
One of the very first brands that we worked with in the outdoor industry was Macmillan.
Okay.
And Kelly McMillan was a huge proponent of Kryptek gear. He had a hunt in Colorado, and I sent him really heavy gear, not for that hunt, just so he had it, but he ended up taking it. And they go on the hunt, and it turns into this super crazy early winter.
Mm-hmm.
And snow, sideways, blizzard type stuff, dumped a couple feet type thing, one of those freak storms. And he was the only guy in camp that actually had this Arctic level gear.
Yeah.
And he's he called me up and he's like, you saved my ass. I can't tell you. Everybody else was freezing their balls off, blah, 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 blah. And from by accident, we were anchored as Kelly McMillan's favorite outdoor apparel brand from that moment on.
Awesome.
So
That's
anyway,
as organic as it gets right there.
yeah, it is.
It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I met Ryan, and at that time he's still with McMillan, and then he went and started Graybow, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
small world.
We were hanging out last night. I told him, I was like, I want to walk the floor with you and introduce you and get you connected. Because awesome dude. He's pretty reserved.
Some of these guys that are former operators have that personality. For example, Kevin Holland. I mean, he spoke last night.
Yep.
Absolutely one of America's legendary heroes, who's does not toot his own horn at all.
Right.
And for him to stand up on that stage and tell a condensed version is even difficult, right?
Right.
And so then you've got these guys that maybe they were in the unit and they did some cool things, but not to the level of some other guys that are just they're quiet about it.
Right.
And normally if you hear about somebody from someone else, that's better than hearing it from that person.
Absolutely.
Right.
But the guys that have been very successful at harnessing their social media and having a platform and a theme, they're growing their audiences exponentially, and I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
But then you got the other guys like we're talking about that just kind of like I was.
Right.
I was that guy. I was like, no, I don't want to be on there. No, I want to do it. And to tell you the truth, the reason why I have a social Instagram now is that we were at a family event, and I can't remember exactly why, but I was dog-ass tired, and I went in to take a nap, and my daughter decided she was going to start my Instagram account and went and stole my phone, logged in, and basically put it all together. And then when I woke up, she's like, Dad, you're doing Instagram from now on. I'm like, I'm not doing that. She's like, well, I just set you up an account. And don't worry, I'll help you if any questions you have. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm in
All right.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Johnny and I were talking about that. There's so many people that work in the shadows that have done incredible things, and nobody knows about it,
Yeah. That guy needs
That's
to.
loud.
That's so loud. I couldn't even. We're all mic'd up and everything.
Right.
It's obnoxiously loud.
One of the interesting questions when I was hearing, what's his name again?
Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland. I need to make sure I remember that. But when Kevin was telling the story, I'm sitting there thinking, how is Ryan taking this in? Because Ryan operated,
Yeah.
And so I went over to Ryan. I was like, how do stories like this make you feel? He's like, well, normally I just tune them out. And I've heard enough of them over the years. He goes, but Kevin is the real deal.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's
Dude,
the man.
he goes,
So-
this story
so
was
th-
actually he did a
So
phenomenal
here's
job.
the thing, also about Kevin. If you were to say that was filmed, you go back and watch and listen. He's using terms that are acceptable in the community and still has this barrier of respect.
Mhm.
If he wanted to dumb it all the way down for the most simplest person in the room, he could have said he's the only American that was on SEAL Team 6 and in Delta Force. But when he talks about Army Special Warfare and U.S. Navy DevGru and all these things, that's over the heads
Right.
of a lot of the folks that are in the crowd,
Yeah.
right? So, and he's still very calculated, and that was the unwritten and written. It was a part of that community's culture, right?
Yeah.
And then when you had these guys that came out and immediately broke that code of silence,
Right.
and they wrote books, and they became the celebrities on Johnny Carson or whatever night show, whatever, and that was more important to them than that I guess rule.
Yeah, the
within
sacredcy.
The
of
sacredcy, yeah.
Yeah.
So the bottom line, though, is that a lot of folks probably that went over their head when Kevin was telling his story. But the other thing too is I hired Kevin out of Ground Branch, which is the CIA's strike arm.
Yeah.
So there's even more to it. Even after when he was out of the military, he was still doing multiple deployments to countries.
Like SRT stuff and whatnot.
All kinds of crazy shit.
Cool.
Unbelievable stuff.
Dude, that's wild.
Well, he's like the tip of the spear for our product development, and a lot of the things, we've got one right now. It's a lanyard. It's actually on our website, And
Oh, the helicopter lanyard.
yeah, Kevin designed that.
Oh, to clip in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, things like that, super meaningful. It's not even an apparel item.
But it's something that you guys, it was important to you to have.
I thought that this was a Coors. It's
a,
not a Coors.
It kind of looks like
It'd be a lot cooler if it was.
It would
Thank
be.
you.
Are we?
Thank you for that.
Are we filming this so that Dasani is like our podcast sponsor?
That's
Oh,
right.
this Dasani is
Yeah.
saving my ass every day.
Let's listen. Let's listen.
This is one of the best Coors I've ever had.
It tastes just like it.
Oh,
It does taste like it.
wow. We're going to have to take it easy on these boys.
Oh, man. I don't know if I'll make it to lunch, boys, if I keep this
This
up.
podcast is going to be fun. I can tell that.
We're going to have Joe Rogan calling.
All right. Are you guys ready to start or what?
I am. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seekers podcast, live at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, here at the Kryptek booth, and I'm with the man himself, Butch Whiting. We're going to be diving into all sorts of topics. It's been a blast. I'm joined by Sam Singleton, and we are here recording, so if you hear any loudspeaker noises, we apologize, but it is what it is, and that's the fun of recording at the expo. So, brother, good morning. How you
to
doing
see you,
today?
man. I'm doing great.
It's good to have you back on the podcast. It's been a while.
Has it been a while?
It's been a couple years.
Wow.
This is back when I was originally the Soulful Hunter. And
Yeah.
I rebranded everything under.
Yeah, you've just gone to a whole new next level, right?
Well, it was like I had a Mexican standoff going on. I had a brand that was a different name, a podcast that was a different name. I started a TV show, different name, and it was like, hey, who are you? Where are you? What? And it was time.
Yeah.
We cleared the board. I moved to Texas. I became more free, and I said, Soul Seekers, let's go.
That's a great name. And you also moved to a fantastic part in Texas, Weatherford, right?
Yes, I did.
Very conservative.
Yes.
Very, very Western.
Yes.
I love that whole Fort Worth area. It's one of my favorite communities
It is.
and cultures.
It's special.
It's epic. And there's been this resurrection and appreciation for Western lifestyle out of the wake of the Yellowstone series.
Yep.
And so it's just like, I think really elevated everything that they've maintained there and sustained.
Right.
So,
What's funny is I was actually going to move to Gallatin County, Bozeman, Three Forks area, which is mentioned on Yellowstone.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd never even been to Weatherford. We just put a finger on a map and said, we're going there. And then Sam and I live a quarter mile from where they film it. Like one of the episodes where
1883 was filmed right down there.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
sir.
crazy. We can see Taylor Sheridan's ranch from our homes.
Yeah.
Silverado. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything that's in that show, I think, the United States in general was due a good Western. I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit, modern day, cowboys and Indians and modern stuff. But I grew up watching John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, and it's like there's been this void. When a Western did come out, it was kind of like hokey and shit.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So my favorite one growing up was Shane.
Yeah. You like that?
Oh, yeah. I was a big fan of Shane. And then I actually wrote a book. And the opening line of my book is I always wanted to be a cowboy, but I had never ridden a horse. I've since ridden a horse, but at that time, it was like I haven't released it yet. Steve Ranella gave me a review on it and everything. I have it just kind of, I'm holding.
Sitting there, getting some feedback.
I'm waiting to letting it marinate a little bit
Really?
before I put it out to the world.
You didn't want me to review it?
No, I'd love to have you. Yeah.
Any book that opens up, I always want to be a cowboy, but I never rode a horse. I'm already sold.
So in a short, we need to
What
get
do you
him on a
think
horse.
the title of the book's going to be?
Found.
Found.
Yes, because I found myself.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be happy to review that.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well have. Can I be in the credits if I do that?
Please, I would be honored.
There you go. We're making book deals.
Yeah.
This is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll take me to read? I'm a pretty fast reader. Is it a quick read or is it like?
It's about 30 to 40,000 words. So a quicker read.
Perfect.
I'll put some pictures in there and stuff.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, I like good photos. Normally, if I pick a book up, I'll turn right to the middle and decide if I'm going to buy it or not. Oh,
Right.
yeah, this is cool.
So
it's all about the pictures.
You like to read?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I read often now. It's more reading that's occurring on, the computer or your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got quite a vast book collection. I got a lot of military books, like pretty significant amount of interesting military.
Is that
books.
military history or military war time?
No, books that were meaningful in my life at one point, like they had a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is the Reimer Library is basically a ongoing selection of books that the military recommends for, various officers and various things as you're, kind of going up and through the ranks and stuff. So anyway, I've got just a bunch of books that were, very meaningful to me when I was a young officer and in the military. So that's the majority. And I've got a lot of good hunting books too, as well.
Yeah.
So kind of got a mixed voice with regards to like my library, if you will.
I was podcasting with Bruce yesterday.
Yeah, of course.
And we were talking about books because I truly believe that anyone who is a leader needs to be reading. Constantly.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I had a program when I was in flight school and when I was a brand new lieutenant. And I had all my manuals next to my shitter.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you start to do the math on how much time you spend on the toilet taking a shit,
Absolutely.
and you start to add it up. So, and now you start to say like, okay, now I'm consuming knowledge, or I'm trying to, become subject matter expert on these things or whatever. I mean, take 20 minutes a day, times 7, times 30. I mean, you start to add it up and you're like, holy cow, man,
Yeah.
this is a lot of.
Yes.
You can have a separate book just for that.
Yeah.
I do.
So.
I do. I just finished The Way of Man.
Yeah.
A good one.
Is it?
It was a good one. The Way of Man. Yes, sir.
Huh.
It was a good one.
Well, that's exciting that
Yeah.
you got a book coming out.
Oh, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to write. I didn't realize I loved to write until I got out of school. Like,
Then you found out you loved to write?
yeah, public education, man. It's
Do you love to write? Like, do you do it in a cursive, or do you do it on a computer?
Oh, I write with pen and paper. Not cursive. Cursive's great hidden, forgotten language. But yeah, I type on a computer. Yeah, because no one knows cursive. Like students nowadays, if I write in cursive, they can't even read it.
Really? You think
Yeah.
it's a lost art?
Oh yeah,
I do.
That's well, you gotta sustain that. I mean, gardening was a lost art too until COVID-19 hit,
Right,
and
and
everybody became a gardener.
right.
You're 100%
It's the same
right.
Did
thing.
you start a garden?
I already had one.
Okay.
Yeah, I already had one. A pretty extensive one, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like a little garden. It's like a tractor garden.
Really?
Yeah, it's big.
What type of tractor you got?
I got a New Holland,
Okay.
35.
My
It's
brother
blue.
works for Koda as the creative marketing.
So I have a ongoing kind of like rant raised thing with a couple of my super good friends. They're actually around here, and they make fun of my tractor because I don't have a cab on it. And so they've got cabs on their tractors. And anytime they're doing something like pushing snow, or maybe it's super hot out, and and I'm doing stuff like if I'm mowing or whatever, they constantly razz me because my tractor doesn't have a cab. It's an older tractor.
Yeah. That way you can let your hair flow in the wind, right?
Yeah. That's right. I can also field test like hot weather gear.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, this new hot weather hoodie's like incredibly badass. Oh yeah, what'd you do? Did you go like hike to the top of Bora Bora or Mount Bora? And I'm like, no, dude, I was like on my tractor for 8 hours yesterday mowing the back pasture.
Johnny laughs, but he has no idea what you're talking about.
I do too. I used to work for a housing company Ellensburg, Central Washington is where I went to school, and when they were developing Kittitas County, I would have to go mow all those fields to keep the noxious weeds down and stuff, even though they weren't building at that time. So,
yeah,
I feel the cabless tractor because growing up we farmed peanuts, and my uncle always got the cab tractor, but I always was stuck in the dust.
You got the one in the
Yes,
dust.
sir.
That's the biggest thing is the dust. But other than that, I mean, it does allow me to put myself in the elements and actually, multitask with it. But back to cursive. So, Ike Eastman and I, we have a thing we say back and forth to each other when we're running around and stuff, and like, hey, take care of yourself. And usually at these shows, especially, when you're at the done, guys are going to the bar and stuff. And then we'll say, hey, I don't want to see you talking in cursive. And it's meaning don't get shit-faced.
oh,
I like that.
Yeah.
Ow.
So
Where'd that come from?
Hey, we just made it up. I don't know. It just is like part of our language. It was like, hey, dude, I don't want to see you talking in cursive tonight.
I like that. I like that.
Dude, okay. I'm going to catch you on that tonight at the banquet.
You can use it. It's
Yeah?
it's my gift to you to use as you see fit.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's like a coin check, right? You checking people.
Yeah.
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 I do like that.
So a little. Let's go to your background for a second, because a couple questions I want to ask. Because I hear it's your birthday.
It's apparently in the range, at some range in here, it's my birthday.
One of the things. So I turned 40 in May.
Yeah.
And this last November, my mortality kicked in. All of a sudden, I woke up one day and I was like, oof, I feel the end sooner than later. And a lot of it had to do with my physical fitness and how I was taking care of my body.
Yeah.
January 1st, I started a carnivore diet. I'm doing 100 burpees a day. And I'm reading every day. These are my commitments to myself.
Uh-huh.
I've dropped 20 pounds. I'm feeling great, sleeping
Right.
better than I ever have. Point of that being said is, you run an outdoor company.
Yeah.
You love to hunt. You love to get after it.
Yes.
As the years pass by, and you live in this mentality of dude, I used to be a Black Hawk pilot.
Apache pilot.
Oh, Apache pilot.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
Get it
like-
right, Johnny.
Oh my
that's-
gosh.
It's like yeah. One is a Ferrari, the other one is a
School bus.
school bus.
Get it right. Jeez.
Okay.
Gunship, Apache attack helicopter.
Okay.
I don't want this mistake made again.
I will.
Okay.
Please forgive me.
Go ahead. Continue on.
So, you live a life where you are, I'll use the term tip of the spear, fit, you're running it. As we get older, we have kids, we have family, with businesses take over and all this stuff. What are you doing to maintain a lifestyle so that you can still go battlefield to backcountry and you can continue to keep grinding or staying sharp?
I think that if the more active you stay as you age, the longer you're going to be able to be active.
Yeah.
But I get asked that question often, and I spend the majority of my time, especially in the summer, actually farm ranch work.
Yeah. It's
and
open
so-
cab tractors that keep
and
you.
splitting wood and doing those types of things that bucking hay, moving hay, those types of things.
Yeah.
And I'd rather spend 4 hours a day doing something that is active and productive than just going to the gym, lifting weights. And I've got to maintain a piece of ground and maintain a piece of property, and basically I'd rather pour into that and do those types of things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, back in just the hunting, if I know I've got a expeditionary type hunt that's going to be extremely physically challenging, I got to go out and train and get ready for that.
Right.
And if you're always ready, but then you're going to put more into it. You're going to go out and ruck 5 miles a day and kind of that type of thing. And the Kryptek team is got a bunch of hardcore, true outdoorsmen that are on the team. They are truly spending a lot of time in the backcountry doing backcountry type things, like finding sheds in the spring, for example. And they come back off this, dude, and they'll put 40 miles on in a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Or just going out and scouting and just, so they're not going to the gym. They're like, why would I go to the gym? I just, hiked 40 miles this weekend looking for browns, and oh, look, I found this one really nice shed, even though I walked my nuts off. So
I understand
the other thing is that there's a lot of adventure added into that. They'll hear a rumor of a location and how do you get in there, and some of the shit that comes back, I'm like, are you guys filming this, or you need to be telling this story, because that's the most amazing shit I've ever heard. What do you mean the bridge that you crossed on the river? The fishing game, it came down and said that it was illegal, and they took it out made the guys that put it in take it out. And so you had no way to get back across the river 3 days later. Yeah, true stuff like that. But anyway, it's just about, if it's going to be, it's about being active in your life.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something that you enjoy, or being productive, so that's it. That's the end of the day.
Dude, I like that. Get busy living or get busy dying. right?
That's exactly right.
I said this yesterday when we were talking to Josh Fields of Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. It's like either you are green and growing or you're ripe and rotting, right? Like if you're going to rest on your laurels and you're being like, okay, I'm here.
I wonder if he made that up or if he heard that from his grandmother or something.
He heard it from me. I was the one who actually.
Is that in your book? You should add it.
It is now.
It might be now. Yeah.
You should have a chapter just on like really super thoughtful, like slow people down, like statements like that.
Oh yeah.
Phrases.
Yeah.
A whole chapter dedicated to it.
Right. I tell my students all the time, hey guys, remember today's the first day of the rest of your life, and they kind of like look at me all cross-eyed, like, what?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I used to tell my girls, which I am so proud of both of them, but you don't have to like it, you just have to do it.
Yep.
And, simple stuff like that. But work ethic related little type comments.
Yeah. What type of mantras do you run off of?
Well, I don't have a really fancy sayings like you do. But I do believe that work ethic is the absolute key essential to success.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of guys that throughout my entire life that have been brilliant, but they've lacked one critical item, and that's work ethic.
Right.
And I've always said no one is going to ever outwork me, and I've been able to instill that into my kids, and they're both extremely off to great starts in their lives as well.
Yeah.
Super proud of both of them. And so that's probably the one thing I'm most proud about is their work ethic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of business owners lately, and they're saying that they're having a harder time when it comes to hiring employees of a younger generation.
Yeah.
Because that work ethic's not necessarily
I've heard that.
You have heard that?
Yeah. I've got friends that have businesses that bitch and moan and complain. I'll tell you that we're using a tool that's open to any company, any business in the nation called SkillBridge.
Yep.
Have you heard of it?
I have.
Okay. So, in fact, Chase came through SkillBridge.
Way to go, Chase.
And he was our first guy that we had listed for an opening. But these guys come out of the military. They normally, I think 9 times out of 10, they are driven by quality of life and location. So when they do their filtering for us, they're going to say, I really want to live in Boise, Idaho or Eagle, Idaho. So I'm going to check to see what programs are in place with companies there.
Yeah.
So then they'll check, they'll see the companies, then they'll see what they're hiring for. But now you get this test drive, and it varies from rank and years in service and other things. Like if you get 3 months or if you get 6 months or whatever, but the DOD continues to pay that person while they come into your organization. And you basically could get, a 3-month interview with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That right there just like...
Are you past your 3 months? He's done.
Yeah, Chase. So, yeah, then it comes, when we got there, we've sat him down and said, hey, Chase, what's your goals? Where do you need to be at? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we really would like you to stay on the team. So the work ethic aspect, it's super cool for Kryptek being veteran-founded and veteran-owned that over 50% of our company are veterans.
Right.
And doing meaningful things.
Yes.
And finding the right skill sets, putting the right butts in the right seats on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super thrilled with that program. And if somebody's listening that has a business out there, you guys need to look into it.
Dude, I like that.
Yeah,
because you just wrote it on your
hand. Yeah, I did.
You?
Because it's just like you said, you're going to get quality folks out of that.
Yeah.
People that actually want to try.
Well, you get quality folks. You get folks that are also coming from a work environment where it's all team-oriented.
Yes, sir.
And it's also, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
It's about getting the job done. It's about pulling on the rope in the same direction as everybody else. And I've had civilians that weren't military people and blah, blah, blah. But I'm all about hiring the culture first.
Yep.
And if they're a fit in the culture, which so far we're 100% with SkillBridge.
Cool.
Because if they seek Kryptek out, number one, they're going to be passionate about the outdoors.
Yep.
They're like, hey, I know Kryptek, and that's cool, and I'm a hunter, and I'm an outdoors person, and already. So they've already got a box checked on it. And then there's the other aspects of it is the team dynamics and that type of thing. And, just having a brand in the outdoor industry doesn't mean it's all fun all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get to go hunt and you get to go fish and you get to go do all the things that everyone sees. That's all the grind behind the curtain as well.
It almost feels like when you get into the outdoor industry, you actually do less of what you typically love, unless you can set it up to maintain that.
When the real idea and concept behind Kryptek was a lifestyle by design. And so the idea was, how cool is this going to be? We're going to go hunt, we're going to go fish, we're going to film it, and it's going to be awesome, and we're going to go on these adventures, and maybe we'll make some money and sustain quality of life for our family, right?
Yeah.
And Kryptek was in a hobby phase for a long time where it was like, we were just having a good time, But then as you start to grow as a company, you got to start to implement policy and procedures, and you have to become well organized, and you have to become, I won't say Kryptek is not corporate, but you have to become more corporate to be successful.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was talking to Ryan McMillan last night, and I was like, hey, can you actually schedule some time away to go on a hunt? And he's like, yeah, when, I was like, can you do a weekend? Come to Texas, let's go a hog hunt, do some thermals, all that. He goes, okay, I can do a weekend.
Yeah.
But he's such a driven human being that he wants to make sure that if he doesn't have a team that he can count on, like a SEAL team where you got your six and all that stuff, there's a sense of responsibility where it's like, is anyone going to do it as good as me? Do you ever feel like that?
I've felt like that. It's ebbed and flowed throughout. But I also feel like I've got an exceptional team. It's day by day becoming better and stronger.
Yeah.
That where I can take advantage of, opportunities to go on hunts that I'm invited on or go on trips or whatever it is. And I know that business is still getting done.
Yeah.
And so that's the cool part about where we are in our life cycle now, is that I don't have to be sitting back, I can't do that because if I'm not here, then we're going to go in the ditch.
Right.
Right. That's got to be one of the hardest parts of business because, you've got this thing that's your baby, and then you absolutely seek out people to drive that bus with you.
Well, if you're going to scale, you have to be able to delegate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's no way that you can't delegate.
That or you'll lose your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are these for me? You got me to read something? Oh, I got a set of reading glasses.
Dude, good job, man. Way to go.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, let's
random interruptions to open air podcast in the expo.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
If we were at my house, random interruption from a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old.
Or what's that dog? What kind of dog is that?
My dog?
Yeah. What is that?
I have
a doodle.
I have a doodle dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Bernese Mountain Dog poodle mix.
Wow.
Yeah. It's cool. I like
It's
him.
cute.
That's cool.
It's cute. It's cute.
I'm a big lab guy. We've always had labs, and it's like almost a family tradition.
Yeah.
And so once you get in a good lab, you just kind of like stick with them.
Absolutely.
Yep. So speaking of labs, water dogs or bird dogs, is that what you use them for?
Yeah.
So you guys just launched a waterfowl line.
Yeah, we did.
What took so long?
Well,
I'm not
slow is smooth and smooth is fast. There's one for your book.
We just had this talk. We just had this talk.
You can put that in your book. Even when you look at the collection. So first of all, the camo pattern, Flyway Dead Zone is the name. It's exceptional. Like the feedback this year, it was kind of a big experiment and a test to make sure we were on track the way we released it.
Yeah.
And we put it in the hands of a lot of bird outfitters that have ran not only the pattern itself, but also key pieces that aren't available to the public. There's been this mass field testing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the feedback has been extremely encouraging.
Cool.
Like once you put this camo on and you go into a dead zone, talking like cut cornfield or whatever the crop is, rice, whatever, it's phenomenal. Like it's incredible, dude.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's been good feedback. And then the other feedback that's been super exceptional is some of the waterfowl specific pieces, garments themselves.
That's a big thing.
And they've been extensively tested, and these guys are waterfowling from September to March. Like, if I was to get into a BA outfitter, I think that there's more money to be made in waterfowl than there is in big game.
Yeah.
Because you can fill your blind every single day
Yes, sir.
with a new group, with a new group, with a new group. And it blows my mind what people are paying to go do this now.
Oh, it's
like, I'm like, unbelievable.
You just got back from waterfowl hunt in Arkansas.
Yeah, I was in Cache, Arkansas on a conservation snow goose hunt.
Yeah?
And
How'd you like it, dude?
Oh, I love it. I go every year. It's a great experience.
Why is conservation added into your snow goose hunt?
There's no limit on the birds.
Yeah.
You can run extension tubes on your shotguns.
Okay.
And there's such a plethora. There's so much access population of snow geese.
Right.
And they're so hard on the soil and all that to the farm
Yeah,
fields.
destructive.
Yes, sir. So it's the fish and game.
Call it that.
Yes, sir.
They call it that.
And it's
It's like a depredation tag.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's and they monitor, each year it's different. It can be.
Yeah.
They can turn it off, turn it on, but it's
I'm doing my first snow goose hunt in Nebraska here in I think it's March 6th.
Ooh.
Just a few weeks away.
it's right there.
Yeah.
It's fast.
Let's get you on this Arkansas hunt next year.
Yeah, dude.
Let's
But
bring you
for
out
that
there.
snow goose hunt, there's been this mad clamor for us to get our overwhites, and so we just sold
Yep.
all of our overwhites 45 days ago to a foreign special operations military group.
Really?
Actually, British. They're not foreign. They're British. So we're completely out of stock on our what was called Yeti overwhites, but now we had to change the name because Yeti sued us to Wraith overwhites. And so it's like, cool, we sold them all, right? And then I get this request to go on a snow goose hunt, and they're like, hey, we can't find any of these overwhites.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And then I'm like asking the guys, like, yeah, we sold them all to the Brits. And I'm like, shit. And I'm like, what about the Grom overwhites? We got some of those. And they're like, no, that's not going to look good on camera. It works, but we want to look good on camera too.
Absolutely.
So I literally conducted a garage sale operation at our headquarters in Eagle, and I started to call all of my buddies, and especially my hardcore predator friends and guys that run overwhites for coyote hunting and stuff. And I was like, hey, I got a great deal for you, man. And they're like, what? And I'm like, bring in your Yeti overwhites, and we'll give you a brand new set of overwhites when we get them back in stock. And they're like, and one guy in particular, he's like, well, I need them for a hunt I got in 2 weeks. And I was like,
So do I.
so do I.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we literally went on this garage sale just to get everybody geared out for this thing.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited about it. And I was asking the outfitter, it's Platte Basin is the outfitter named Mike Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what should you expect,
Oh, gosh.
And he's like, you need to plan on shooting 100 birds a day. And I was like,
What?
holy shit, 100 birds a day.
So my very first experience, we killed 708 in 2 days. And you hear that number, and it resonates, but when you have an 18-foot trailer full of geese, and then you've got a whole day and a half of cleaning birds.
So you guys processed every bird.
We processed, and we made a lot of phone calls.
To a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
Gave away a lot of birds.
My dogs ate a lot of goose meat.
Did they?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many pounds of goose meat did you get out of that?
I wouldn't
lot.
even be able to start to tell you.
I read that these snow geese will go to Russia and back to here. Like
Well-
you might have a snow goose that was born in Russia.
Really?
yeah,
And I also read, I need to do more of the reading on this before I go do this, but some of these birds are 25 years old.
Yep.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
It's incredible.
It is. They're pretty.
But
They're hardy.
But they're just pounding these farmers' fields,
Yes.
right?
It's to the point to where it's turning the soil acidic.
From their shit or what?
Yes, sir.
From goose shit.
Yes, sir.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm
There's
serious.
so much goose shit.
Well, I mean,
It's incredible.
Well, I guess if you imagine what Mike Tracy was telling me, is there's 1 million birds on this one roost over here and
Yep.
1 million birds on this roost over here, and they're going to all be converging on this one spot.
Absolutely. It's incredible.
Huh. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking forward to cleaning 728 birds. That's at some point you got to be like, okay, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah.
But at least you guys are you're going through that and finding a use for
Absolutely.
them. I've heard guys like just taking a backhoe and digging a big hole and throwing them in there.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not cool for me.
right.
But I'm also not the farmer that's like, losing all of my revenue.
Absolutely. We have the same issue with hogs. It's like,
Yeah.
come kill them.
I know. That's turned into its own industry down there in Texas ever
Yes,
since
sir.
that thing
Have you hog
exploded.
hunted yet?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. I've also helo hog hunted.
I was just about to ask that. Being a former pilot, like,
I do enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. It's amazing how fast that they reproduce.
90-day cycles.
Is that it?
Yep. Hogs reproduce in 90 days.
And then also can't like a baby hog that like how old does a baby hog have to be before it can generate an offspring?
Oh, not that long.
No, it's fairly quick.
Yeah, I think it's within the year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's
Like,
within the
I
year.
thought it was like less than that, like 6 months.
Yeah, it's
It's like,
less than gestation. I know that.
Huh. Yeah, so I used to do a bunch of stuff with a outfit down in Texas, and they were like the pioneer on that helo hog hunt. They were called Cedar Ridge Aviation. They're probably still around.
okay.
But they had a really cool business model because they had the farmers contact them and said, hey, I've got a problem with hogs. Can you come take care of it? And so they'd be sure, and then here's my price to do that. But then they turned it into the other side, which was guys could pay to go shoot the hogs out of the helicopter, but they could also choose what weapon they wanted. And
Yes, sir.
depending on like, oh, I really like that, fully auto, whatever, and the ammo and stuff. So they had like pretty much the expense covered by the farmer, say fuel,
Mm-hmm.
and then this was like, profit. And that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they were like really early on when that was like a new thing, and everybody in the industry was holding their breath for like, well, I don't know if this is going to be acceptable or not. I mean, that seems like, and now it's like everybody's
That's like
into it.
everyone wants to go to Texas for a helicopter hog hunt.
yeah.
They're like,
It's its own boomed industry.
I haven't done. Have you done it?
No, sir.
You're-
My dad has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
M4 out the door, buckshot, just flying sideways.
Yeah.
He said it was the craziest thing he's ever done in his life.
He enjoyed it a lot.
He loved it.
That's what happens. We've done a couple hunts down there, and it's been like whitetail classic tree stand type hunts, and then we'll have helo hog hunt like a day.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, the highlight of my whole trip was, even though I killed this 230-inch deer, the highlight was that helo hog hunt.
Yep.
Yeah. So
It's awesome.
Man.
it's cool.
What I love about Texas hunting, so being from the Northwest, you get a deer tag. Well, you get one deer, right? And that season's short. You got to select your weapon. You're really limited on what choices and how you go about planning your year. In Texas, you got 4 deer tags, and season's open from this date until this date, and you keep going until you fill your tags. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. Kind of takes the pressure off a little bit,
Dude,
right?
when I was stationed at Fort Rucker, Alabama, guess what? How many deer you could shoot?
8.
One a day.
One a day.
Oh my gosh.
One a day.
That's a place to cut your teeth.
Yeah. And another thing, when I was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the active duty soldiers were considered residents of both Kentucky and Tennessee.
Mm.
And so you got your allocation for Kentucky, you got your allocation for Tennessee, and then you had Fort Campbell proper, which didn't count towards either of them. And I think you could shoot $7 a year. I don't know.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this, these whitetails are not as big, or at least the ones that I shot this year, where I'm ripping through that meat very fast. So you got to actually shoot a lot of deer.
Yeah, you need to have 4 for your freezer.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. But so much fun. Also, it helps with the kids.
Absolutely. That's the best. Okay, so my very first exposure to Texas hunting was my youngest daughter, Kylie.
Yeah.
And it was the very first time I was in a box blind. I never hunted deer like that before. And I immediately became to appreciate how everything was controlled, super safe. Everything was maintained, and it was not like the way some of the hunts can go out west here and how you start off your kids and beat them into the ground, Like Steve Rennell was talking about how he punishes his kids last night, wants them to really appreciate how hard it is to hunt deer.
Right.
So I did appreciate that about Texas, and I love the fact that there also was an age limit
Yes.
for how you want to introduce your kids into hunting. And that was the same way it was in Alaska. So when I got out of the military, I lived up in Alaska, I think, for like 5-6 years, somewhere in that range. And there is no age limit. So my girls, my daughter shot her first Alaska black bear, I think, when she was 8 years old.
Cool.
And then they shot, caribou, and they shot moose, and they shot all these things. And then we moved back to Idaho, which is where we're originally from, and they weren't old enough to hunt yet. And I threw an absolute fit with Idaho Fish and Game. I said, this is the dumbest rule that you guys have in play.
Yeah.
Because number one, you're encouraging fathers, and this is happening all around you, and you probably know about it, to take their kids out on a duck blind, and they're basically shooting at ducks or geese, and they're not old enough to hunt. And so they formed a program. It's called the Passport Program, and it started off, it was just birds. And so you could apply your kids' passport program, and then you could take them out when they were younger. I think they pushed the age from, I think it was 12 years old down to like 9 or something like that. And then it went into big game as well. And so I actually look at that program, and I know for a fact I had a major part of that, because I had the commissioners, and I had the actual board at the Idaho Fish and Game, because I was pretty furious, like coming out of Alaska, and my girls had done all these epic big game hunting, and now I couldn't take them hunting legally, and so I just thought, this is asinine. And so that's the same thing with Texas. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that if you can introduce these kids at an age, especially in Texas, like I'm talking about, where it's in a controlled environment, you're like in a box blind, the weapon's pointed out the window, it's on a sandbag usually, it's very controlled, you probably spent some time at the range, you've probably been training up. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no better way to hook a kid.
There's no better way to hook a kid.
Right?
Yeah, that's how so Kylie shot her very first deer exactly like that in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, lit a fire.
It did.
Lit a fire.
Yeah. And then she got to experience true hardcore expeditionary backcountry type hunting in Idaho. And she's like, shit, man, let's go back to Texas.
That's exactly
Dad,
how I was.
what if we put a pile of corn out here in the sagebrush?
That's right.
Did they come to it like they do down there?
Johnny did the same thing for me, growing up in Texas, hunting there my whole life, and then adventuring out here and there, doing a little bit. And then Johnny said, we're going to the mountain. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And then it was just, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took him furthest west he's ever been. We went to Idaho for a bear hunt last spring.
Really?
Yep.
Where in Idaho?
I got to hit mute right now. No.
Well, was it like in the middle?
We flew into Boise and drove east.
And drove east?
Yeah.
Did you see a bear?
We saw 9.
Nice.
And we had a horrible.
Are you
horrible
trying to
time
protect
shooting.
your hunting spot? Is that what you're doing? Because you're doing a
Absolutely.
really good job at it.
Absolutely. No.
So you guys were just doing spot and stock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in Idaho it's legal to bait.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have in our office a multitude of guys that bait. And I'm going to go back to the exact same analogy that we're talking about hunting in Texas. Some people are like really anti-bear bait hunting.
Yep.
It's incredibly controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You get a real good opportunity to judge the bear.
Yep.
In fact, in many cases, those bears frequent the site enough that they get names, right?
Yep.
And so you can be selective. And it's really awesome for kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful technique that we have in the Northwest that it would be analogous to what I'm talking about to the Texas box blind type hunting.
Yes. Well, and then another thing to add on to that is what a lot of people don't realize, and you and I talked about this. We were on a podcast with Andrew McKeon, former editor-in-chief of Outdoor Life magazine. Hey now.
Don't get us going.
I'm going to cut him off. Give a challenge. So, where were we? Okay, so talking about
Texas hunting.
Texas hunting,
Yeah.
hunting over bait.
Yep.
A lot of fishermen, hunters support fishermen. Not all anglers support hunting,
True
and a lot of
statement.
that has to do with catch and release. Well, I can catch and release, and I'm not harming animals or whatever. Well, running hounds and hunting over bait is like catch and release. You get to actually identify your animal, experience it. Shoot, you could have an empty chamber, squeeze that trigger, and pretend like you're shooting it, and
Yep.
know, like, okay, and then go about your business however you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that, and it's our job to articulate that to the masses to protect hunting.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. So I was hesitant about hunting over bait. Like,
Okay.
oh, I don't know. Is it what I want?
Johnny thought it was going to be easy.
He did.
He thought it was going to be easy.
Okay. Well, I did too. The first time I hunted over bait, I got to remember exactly how this went. I think I got a bucket, and I had my archery gear on. And it was a bow hunt, and the bucket had corn in it. And they said, "Go down this line here, and then the ladder stand's on the left, and get up, get in the ladder stand, get all your shit ready, and then throw the corn out around you." And I was like, "Okay." So I did it halfway correct.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to the stand, I threw the corn out, then I started to get my shit ready.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden these deer came running in. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to work, right? I was like, oh, no. And then the other thing, too, is like, you got to be set because the feeder goes off at like 5 o'clock or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what do you mean the feeder goes off? Like, I had no idea being a Western hunter. I had no clue. It was just completely all new for me. But here's the thing within hunting in general is that we don't need to have infighting. Yeah. There's enough anti-hunters that want us to go away that we don't need to. I don't need to judge you because you're hunting in a fashion that's ethical. It's legal, mm-hmm. and whatever weapon that you're using and whatever the technique is and what's acceptable for that region or culture. Right. I think the biggest group of guys that is probably the worst I've seen within the industry are traditional bow hunters. Because if you're shooting a compound bow, then you're a piece of shit and you don't hunt traditional, right? Yeah. And so I've seen a lot of that judgmental infighting and whatnot. But the bottom line is, if you're a hunter and you're filling your freezer, and you're expanding the culture and sharing it with your kids, and it's a family event and whatever, or friends or whatever it is, I'm not going to judge how you go about that.
Absolutely not.
There's also a major anti-high fence deal. Yep. Well, at the end of the day, I've been on some high fence places in Texas where I never saw the fence once I went in through the gate.
We have this conversation a lot. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
people think you high fence hunt that, they think like it's like a pasture, a pen, maybe 5 acres or 10 acres or 1 acre or whatever it is. Some of these places that I've had the luxury of going into, it's like I never saw the fence.
Right. You have no idea how big the place is because you've never seen the border.
They're phenomenal. And, where we're at, Western hunters, they're bad at judging Texas whitetail type operations. They're just notorious for that.
So American history of manifest destiny, westward expansion, all that, I feel like I'm a reverse pioneer going from the west to the east and south, bringing the gospel of just different perspective of hunting.
A reverse pioneer.
Yeah, a reverse pioneer. Always wanted to be a cowboy, but never ridden a horse.
That sounds like a yoga position to me.
Oh, God.
The reverse pioneer.
I don't want to see it.
Oh.
But so one of the things, and talk about reverse pioneer and just protection of hunting real quick, is being from the state of Washington, bear hunting has been under attack. And it was easy for me to, when I moved out of Washington, to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about that garbage anymore. But then I really think about it. I'm like, I'm 2,000 miles away, but that's a domino effect. And ding, 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 all of a sudden,
It is.
And so what I get to do is I get to bring awareness with me to people such as Sam here, because now Sam, who thought hunting was safe, didn't really realize outside of our personal bubble. We live in bubbles all the time. And unless you're given experiences that get you outside of it, it's tunnel vision. It's like, I got my lease, we're good, this is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in it, everybody I knew hunted. Really, you didn't know anybody that didn't hunt.
Right.
And so I didn't know that there was such a thing of really, I mean, everybody has heard of an anti-hunter, but I never experienced it. It was never in my face. And then when I met Johnny, he's like exposing me to this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And it really opened my eyes. And then getting to come out here and see all this, it's like, wow, this is a lot bigger than I ever imagined it to be.
Yeah. There's it's an education process with the anti-hunters as well, that they don't have near the appreciation for the landscape and the wildlife that hunters that immerse themselves into that
Absolutely.
actually do.
That's right.
And so, I mean, I think that it's absolutely critical that as a community, whether it's my competitor's brand or, in the infighting needs to basically be focused out, because these guys are extremely sophisticated, they're well financed, and hunting's always been under attack.
Yep.
But now in recent years, they've started to attack other things like our education system, critical race theory.
Oh, yeah.
They become, it's the same guys.
It's
the same people.
Yeah.
They're the same ones that are anti-hunters as well. And so they've just broadened what they're going to go after. And so now it's got more exposure because the conservative American has been exposed to it.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And even if you have a conservative American that's not a hunter, they understand like what's happening.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Correct.
I feel that the pendulum of the Biden administration is starting to swing the other way, and people are going to be more aware of what a brand represents, what a brand stands for, and they're going to also appreciate the fact of core values that America has.
Yes.
And you're not going to attack that, and hunting is a part of that core value.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's what this nation was founded and built around, and we have the best model in the world, untouched.
Yes, absolutely.
We should ensure that we tell that story to all these new guys that are coming in to hunt as well.
Yep.
What is that North American, conservation model that Theodore Roosevelt stood up? What is Pittman Robinson tax? How does this big thing work?
Yes.
And I feel like that pendulum, as it continues to swing back, that guys that aren't hunters, they're definitely not going to be anti-hunters.
Right.
And they're not going to judge you because you took the time to fill your own freezer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not everyone needs to be a hunter. I believe in tribal roles, right?
Sure.
But what everyone needs to do is they need to have the understanding of how powerful and important hunting is in our lives. And so that ballot box initiatives don't win and become.
Well, do you know probably the best thing that happened for a resurrection in hunting was when you could not go into a supermarket and buy more than one steak at a time. And it was about the same time that you couldn't find any toilet paper.
Yep.
And all of those things. And all of a sudden, people started to go back to self-reliance, self-sustainment. That was the whole, gardening. Like, hey, what was that stuff that Grandpa did? Grandma, remember she canned and she put things away, and they had this and that and all that. There was this massive resurrection, which it included also the ability to go out and harvest and fill your freezer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's where I feel like this pendulum swing's coming back the other direction.
I believe it. The homesteading is huge. It's picking up. I have a freeze dryer. I got dehydrators. We make our
You're
own.
a prepper now?
You bet your sweet ass I am.
Dude, I've always been a prepper, man. That's like not new.
I used to not know what the term was, but I guess if the boot fits.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We're here once again.
Right. Full circle.
Full circle. Yeah. I grew up in a family of a long time prepping. All these lost arts of like preserving food, even making moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great lost art. We got a fantastic moonshiner in the booth here. But he comes from a long lineage of moonshining. But all those lost arts, doing shit yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, like big pharma, right?
Yeah.
Where does all medicine come from? It comes from plant medicine and the earth, right? And then it's manipulated and artificially created and all that. But everything, oregano oil, is powerful. Keep oregano oil in your house.
Yeah.
Castor oil. These are the things that, you're talking curing cancer and removing tumors and overcoming a lot of sicknesses is based upon stuff that you can grow in your yard. Dandelions.
I love dandelions.
Yeah.
Dandelion salad's the best.
Oh, Yeah,
My sister
absolutely.
my sister makes jelly out of them.
Jelly.
Yep.
I didn't know you
dandelion
could do
jelly.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, dude, this has been a phenomenal time. I really appreciate it, Butch.
Are we done?
No, but I just
Oh.
like I'm honored that like I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, dude, I can't believe we have just ripped through an hour already.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to be done at all. I want to hear.
I got to tell you something. I got this new watch,
Yeah.
and it like vibrates and shit when you're getting a phone call. I had to take it off in this because somebody's trying to call me. I hope it wasn't important. But all this new technology we're talking about, like
Yeah.
all these advancements, and this resurrection going back to like being able to do things on your own, preserve your own food, grow
Yep.
your own garden.
Yep.
At the same time, you've got this shit that's ripping
Yep.
here, and the ability to communicate in a fashion that in the world's history never obviously occurred.
Right.
But the ability to get stories out, to get to tell stories and do activations, do campaigns,
Yeah.
right? So, as that continues, who knows what's going to be out there in 20 years from now,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the core essence, one of the most amazing organizations in the United States of America, the Future Farmers of
Oh,
America.
FFA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
FFA.
Yeah.
And like that core value, animal husbandry, all the things that come along with it, those things are like a sacred part of the American culture.
Yeah.
And hunting is right in the middle of it.
It's right there. So I used to coach high school football in Ellensburg, Washington. Rodeo town.
Yeah.
And when I was coaching high school football there, I was shocked because we're transitioning. We're talking early 2000s. So Obama's in office and different things are happening. And I'm coaching football, walking out to the field, and a pickup truck of one of my players, he's got a bunch of dead rabbits in the back and a shotgun and a gun rack. Back when you used to see gun racks in trucks.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, man, hey, check this out. Everyone's walking by checking it out, go to practice, come back. So I'm like, dude, this is awesome. In rural America, like, down-home roots, good stuff. And then all of a sudden we got to the week of the county fair, and a lot of players were missing practices. But it was acceptable because they were out doing their showing of their animals and all that. It's like, hey, this is a livelihood. One day the game leaves you or you leave the game, but this is going to continue on forever, and this is a really important foundation.
Yeah, 4-H is incredible. If you look at the numbers involved with our youth, it's a part in that. They have shooting programs as well.
Yes, they do.
Yep. And they're super massive, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about like 4-H, that's what America stands for, and all the activities that are doing, right?
Yeah.
So as far as Kryptek's concerned, as a brand, and compared to my near-peer competitors, I'm still privately owned. I don't have a private equity parent company that is forcing agendas from above down.
Yep.
And they're deploying dollars with lobbyists and initiatives that are counter what the hunting community stands for.
100%.
So completely patriotic, pro-Constitution, pro-2A.
Yes.
Veteran-founded, veteran-owned, and all about what America's core essence is.
Well, I've told you this before, so I'm not going to name what brand camo I was wearing before I came to the Kryptek Legion. However, when it came to creating, what I've done with Soul Seekers and all that, and wanting to partner up with a camo company, I sold all my stuff, and the only phone call and emails I made was to Kryptek. That was it. I knew what you guys stood for, and I wanted to be aligned with that.
And that's who we want aligned with us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The non-woke, the non-bought in critical rate, the I'm going to judge you because you use a side-by-side, you mean, to get around, or a four-wheeler? That's not hunting.
Right.
If you need to, carry your camp on your back, that's hunting.
Right. So the beautiful thing, we got to go over the speaker here for a second, is...
Have that man removed.
Dude. Security. Thank you. But that's one of the beautiful things. Like, if you want feedback on your company, it's known. It's out there.
Yeah.
And
there's also disadvantages though too. I mean,
Absolutely.
we get I've been approached numerous times by private equity, family offices, whatever it is. My near peer competitors, as they have onboarded that parent cash,
Yep.
they're able to do a lot of really super cool stuff from a marketing perspective, especially, or whatever. And so you're up against that. You're up against, you're battling with less resources
Right.
at times. But I'm super proud of, where we've come from and how we've gotten there and the bootstrap behind it. This has gone from a concept that was born on the battlefield. No shit. Like sitting around in between missions, like, hey, how cool would it be to be in the outdoor industry? Oh, that'd be really cool. Well,
Right.
what should we do? Oh, we should do this. What about that? What about this? I know, let's try this. And to go through the whole life cycle of, from concept into hobby phase, and now what I feel like is actually coming into itself as a brand
Beautiful.
and being able to maintain our core values. And what's super important to me as founder and CEO, that's special. And so I want people to buy Kryptek because they believe in the brand and the people behind the brand and what the brand stands for.
You betcha. You betcha.
Couldn't say it any better.
Yeah. I mean, I heard rumors around during COVID about certain companies that had a little bit of the woke money behind them,
Oh, yeah.
requiring people. And you would think the hunting industry would be super conservative, like, hey, we're taking a stand, that we're not letting that in here. Of like, well, they were still requiring their employees to get the jab to maintain. And that's what took me to Texas. It's like I got told, take the jab or get fired. And I was like, middle finger to the world, me and my family, sovereignty over everything,
Yeah.
So, but I love that about what you stand. You are a patriot, like a true patriot. That term gets thrown around a lot, but to really understand, be like, okay,
That's
circle the
an
wagons.
absolute compliment. And I've been kicked in the balls because of that a bit. When we lost our Facebook account and our Instagram accounts and all this censorship around the Capitol riots, we had nothing to do with the Capitol riots. It just so happened that there were some guys that were wearing Kryptek there that got really front and center. And
Right.
specifically this one guy they called Zip Tie Guy. And he was wearing Kryptek Typhon pants and shirt, and he was jumping over a seat, and he was front and center on everything, and he started to get a lot of exposure, like in Snapchat news and memes that were describing what he was wearing and so on, and literally, like, 2 weeks later, poof, lose my Facebook account.
Whoa.
No, and so I've been censored because you're right, we're patriotic.
Yeah.
And you know what? If that's a bad thing, which it's been tried to be made into,
Yep.
fuck those guys.
Fuck them. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's why, dude, I'm so honored to be hanging with you, brother. It's cool. Dude, one of the things that I am such a huge proponent of is I didn't understand how important the First Amendment was. Like, I understood that it's important to have freedom of speech, but it was like, yeah, Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Because the Second Amendment is a linchpin to all the other amendments to actually defend them. But the First Amendment, and why it's the first, is because the spoken word is the most powerful thing that you can do in this entire world. Like,
and that's part of the reason why we've had so much trouble is where these amazing tools that you can reach millions of people just like that on.
Yeah.
And somebody gets to pick and choose what goes out, what can go forward, what's going to hit the right algorithm to get all the viewership or not and go in the ditch. And this thing of shadow banning, dude, is one of the most frustrating things on the planet. It used to be if Kryptek made a post on Facebook or Instagram, even though we weren't really good at it, a lot of that was me making those posts.
Nice.
But we would get like 5,000 likes or, it's just like bam, 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 bam. And without a shadow of a doubt, we have a shadow banned. And now you have to work to break this algorithm. You got to like get everybody come in here and dogpile on this so we can get out of whatever algorithm jail, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be patriotic and you're going to have this blacklist on you, these other brands may have made some of those decisions because, we still have to operate within the constraints that the Communist Party of Zuckerberg has laid out for us.
Right.
So we have to operate in that box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't operate in boxes the communists make.
No. Because as soon as you do, you're going against what you truly believe in.
100%, man. So, yeah, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages. And right now, the advantage is going to be that pendulum swinging the other way, and Kryptek's on that side.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Dude,
Yeah.
it's a Kryptek wave. Like,
Yeah.
that's what, so Ryan McMillan, we were talking about him earlier. When he did his marketing and labeled his rifle stock the People's Rifle Stock,
Yeah.
I was instantly hooked.
That's
Like,
a good play.
I remember, I think I was talking to Justin last year or a couple years ago. I was like, I want to see Kryptek be the people's camo.
Yeah.
Or, however you want to label that. Like, and create a movement. Not just like, I like that brand or I like to wear their product. It's a movement, and what you guys lead the charge.
We have to do a good job of telling the story of who we are.
Yeah.
And I can't take it for granted. And it's going to take guys like you and others, right, that understand and internalize the story and then spread that word. When Kryptek is in hobby phase, I look back on it, we didn't even really market because it was just all happening naturally, and like we just have all these miraculous type events and things that would just occur, like all of a sudden, Activision calls us, we want you in our video games, Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Okay, cool. All of a sudden, boom, U.S. Army Camo Improvement Effort, front page of Yahoo News, boom, 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 boom. Well, I just took that shit for granted. I was like, this is easy. Now I realize that we have to do a better job of telling our story so that people know, like who we are, where we came from, what we stand for, and also where we're going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're going to continue to make incredible improvements in our gear. Well-constructed, extremely durable, performance-driven. I also want to take some stuff like, I'm super keen on this. I don't want to have a fishing line like we have. You know what that is? That's a hot weather line. And I want the farmer that doesn't have a cab to be wearing my bamboo shirt when he's out there sweating his nuts off working.
Yeah.
And I want him to be able to use it for his fishing, and I want to be able to use it when he goes hunting, and that's a hot weather line. Mm-hmm. And anybody, you guys should appreciate that down in Texas.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, your bamboo shirt, the bamboo hoodie, is my favorite top of your line.
Yeah. Well, it's just the point. It's an analogy, and I feel like what I call Kryptek 3.0, because I can kind of measure along like these different steps.
Yep.
We're right on the cusp of really, truly anchoring that and going to the next level.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at as a brand.
Beautiful. Hey, real quick, the names of your clothing.
Yeah.
Can we get into that for a second?
Sure. I'd love to tell you. So it has been memed. There's one super funny meme where there's this guy and he's got these like little fake hands that he pushes on here and they're smashing the keyboard, and the meme says how Kryptek names its clothes.
I haven't seen that.
It's funny as hell. And he's sitting back here and the hands are just going. But the naming on the clothing lines themselves, if you actually look into them and Google them, you're going to find there's some warrior ethos related name. All right. So the example I use is like our Koda rain gear. Mm-hmm. Koda means warrior in Basque.
Oh, okay.
The Basque community is a sect of Spain. They're super big out west where we're at, in around Idaho, Nevada area. But all of them have meaning like that. For the most part, now the altitude collection was named after mountain battles that I was involved in Afghanistan.
Cool.
So you have the Tora Bora mountain range. Takur Gar, that's an actual mountain that is famous for Roberts Ridge. That was Operation Anaconda. You have all these purpose-driven names that were basically, we broke apart and put things here or there.
Yeah.
And whatever. It doesn't mean that like this culture of having a name that doesn't resonate, doesn't speak, is always going to be in play. But up into our history till now, the Kryptek lineage of names was very highly focused on warrior ethos.
Mm-hmm.
And that was and is a very important part of the brand, the fiber of the brand.
Yeah.
So
Well, Shakespeare said, what's in a name? Right.
you got this whole chapter developing in your book.
I'm calling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets more ideas for his book the
Yeah.
more podcasts he does.
Yeah.
Right.
It's never ending.
Yeah. No, there's power in a name, right?
There
I mean,
is.
You call upon the name of Jesus. Like, there's power in a name.
Absolutely, there is. And so there are some names that I do get razzed a lot about.
Yeah.
And I've had to tell this story, it seems like, more abundantly, more often than not,
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of really super badass, hardcore backcountry guys, and they're like, how do you even say this name? I don't even know how to say it. And so I'm like, yeah, dude, we could probably do something a little easier, more palatable for the end user,
Yeah, that's all right. Your names are actually easier to say than a certain brand that I still don't even understand how to name their coats that we're not going to mention right now. But I'm like, dude, I'm never going to buy it, but I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't like to eat food that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. The auto industry has the most powerful naming conventions. They've put a lot of effort into the naming of vehicles for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some really, powerful names. I think that they probably did that by a steering committee, to go through. I mean, I've got a staff now. I've got super talented individuals. We didn't have that shit back in the day.
Right. Right.
Like I was doing Facebook. I was naming the garments. I was like doing this. I would have 20 hats, So it is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Kryptek name, I get asked, what's that all mean about as well? And so when we first started this adventure, we had other names that we were pursuing. But every time we would go to register the name and get the trademarks, it would be taken in a certain class, So the different classes like apparel, hard goods, knives, whatever. Class 25 is apparel. And so we basically did a play on the English word cryptic with a C, and we took crypto and techno, which means hidden technologies, and we put them together to come up with a name that nobody had even tried to register.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
That is interesting.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I don't think we have ever talked about that before.
Well, now we haven't, and it can be a part of your...
there we go.
I really like that.
Yeah. So the other thing, too, it's not on this logo on the booth here. We use a stylistic Y often, which is the inside of the Kryptek helmet, the Kryptek logo.
Yeah.
And we'll replace the Y in Kryptek with that. We have the trademarks on that as well, but that really stands for the inner warrior ethos. So the logo was actually inspired because when I was a commander, speaking of reading books, I read a book called Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield.
Okay.
And it's a historical fiction about the Spartan warriors in Thermopylae and how they are raised and trained from the time of very, very young. And basically their whole life centers around becoming a warrior, right? And so it's a very impressive and meaningful book. In fact, when the movie came out, 300, I was disgusted by it. I was like,
really?
this movie sucks ass so bad. And I can remember being upset about it, right? Because it was such an abortion of this true warrior culture, right? And so I got a copy of that book for all 90 of my soldiers as we were deploying into Iraq. And I went through and I wrote a personal note on the front opening page to each and every one of them. And the summary and essence of that book was, as for me as a company commander, for the Spartans, it was that community just bound together and everybody was on the same team. And everybody was there to ensure the success of that community or ensure the success of your unit, right? And so that became this inspiration later on, fast forward, for Kryptek, that's was the inspiration for our logo.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love meaning.
Yeah, well, this was before Spartan Race and all these other brands started to pop up that have the Spartan logo used in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a different deal. I mean, if you think about it now, where we're at, this hardcore backcountry type hunting brand that's got this Spartan logo, but it was just the history of our brand.
Well, it just ties in so much more to like the idea as a metal cart with kegs rolls by, you know.
Kegs?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go.
Well, it ties in perfectly with what we've already talked about being a warrior, being a patriot.
Yeah.
Like I put on my Kryptek, I put on my battle helmet, and let's go.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you know the brand, somebody might have Kryptek and they just think, dude, this camo's super effective, this jacket is well constructed, this is super nice, I'm just going to wear it. But if they know the rest of the story and they have a mentality that's similar, they have similar beliefs, it becomes much more meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Did you know much about Kryptek before I came into your world?
No, I'd seen it, but not ever had my hands on it or anything like that, especially being in the South, you know.
Well, Texas historically has been one of our top selling states direct to consumer. And I feel that strongly that a lot of that was because Chris Kyle was on the Kryptek pro staff.
Right. That was the first time I saw it.
He was a part of the Kryptek team.
Yep.
And he actually had input and say as we developed our family of camouflage for the Department of Defense. And so Chris Kyle was buried with a Kryptek belt buckle on. I know because I was there.
Wow.
I was in the procession, and I went to the open casket that was for close friends and family. And I'm still very good friends with Taya, and now I'm very good friends with Chris's son, Colton Kyle, who is basically resurrecting AmericanSniper.com. But I've always felt like that stronghold for Texas resonated out of that relationship. And I also think that our product does extremely well in Texas.
It does.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. I love the altitude line. I love that pattern. I'm born in the mountains. Like I want to get up there. But I took it to Texas and I started, wearing it around the mesquites and all that. I loved it, but your Obscura transitional, bingo.
Yeah.
I crushed it on that one.
So the Obscura family of camo is like, it's next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard it from guys that spend a lot of time out in the woods, in the backcountry, and they're having experiences where, especially when you go against the visual acquisition of a bird, like turkeys.
Yep.
And once you can defeat a turkey and have experiences where this gobbler walks up and is like, doesn't know you're there or see you, like, and it's, there's lots of input coming back on like, holy shit, this is like the baddest ass camo on the planet.
Yeah.
So Obscura Transitional, lots and lots of accolades behind it.
Knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. And that was a very purpose-driven camo pattern and design as well. So we took the guys call the original family of camouflage OG.
The
now.
OGs.
These young flat brimmers we got. They call it OG.
Shout out to Chase the flat brim.
Yeah. He's one of a handful of flat brimmers we have. But that original camouflage pattern becomes which, by the way, was very elaborately tested by the Department of Defense. It's extremely effective, but it comes the micro pattern in the Obscura line, and then we basically tiger stripe camouflage is very, very effective.
It's cool,
and that was where we took that the tiger stripe inspiration and basically overlaid our version of that on top of our original camouflage.
Yeah.
So functionality in the camo is essential and important. There's different aspects of camouflage. You have the psychology behind it. In the military, you're going to have esprit de corps, morale, identify friend or foe, all these different things, and then it starts to really slip over into fashion, and then you see like these, our fishing camo lines are the exact same camo pattern, micro and macro pattern, just with different colors plugged into it, and we lashed up with a brand called Hook. Some people say Huck, but Hook.
I always thought it was Huck.
Nah, it's Hook. I know, because I was buddies with the founders. Somebody that's how you would say it if you just speak English, but it was a play on hook, like a hook, a fishing hook.
Right.
You just rolled your eyes at me like,
I
oh
did.
my gosh.
Yeah, I did.
Anyway,
We'll talk later.
they absolutely crushed it in using it's a fashion thing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
So it's this wide spectrum of like true functionality and into the psychology behind it, and then you have these slips all the way over into fashion.
So I don't know if you knew this. I was a quarterback in college. I like to lead the charge.
Yeah.
And a part of playing college football and playing sports at a higher level, it's like you got to look good to feel good to play good. Like it's a mental. It starts here.
I agree.
And it goes out. You guys offer so many different patterns that are awesome, but I hate mismatching.
I do too. I don't even say another word. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I've got like really super good hardcore hunters. They kill a lot of cool shit all over the world. And I'll get this great content and I'll be like, why are you wearing Highlander with your altitude mix match?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all Kryptek. I'm like, dude, no, it doesn't work like that.
I was over at Marsupial yesterday talking to Jim, and he's got his box of altitude and Obscura transitional bino harnesses, and I have an altitude bino harness, but sometimes I'm wearing my Obscura transitional, and I'm like, crap, man, now I have to buy another bino harness.
I have the same thing. I've got a bino harness for every single collection we have. Yeah. There is going to be a lot of push for solids that are in the works right now as well.
Oh, really?
And I think that there's been an ebb and flow. Like, I personally will never wear Kryptek camo pants on an airplane. But
Right.
I'll wear Kryptek solid pants
Yep.
with a camo jacket.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I've got a pair of pants that I'm going to wear when I'm in hunting camp.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. But dude, you got to be super ballsy to get on an airplane and be wearing camo pants, camo jacket, camo everything.
Yep.
It doesn't all right. I mean, it just doesn't go. So I do like to have some real super meaningful solids that are going to be part of the collection. And, that seems to be like an ebb and flow now where there's a lot of hunting where the camouflage is not necessarily essential, right? But there is the psychology of it. Like when you're donning your stuff, really it has to perform. The camo's a paint job. Kryptek's known for its camo, but it's a paint job. What matters is what's under the paint job. The fabric selection, the quality, the construction. It's going to allow you to stay in the field longer, increase your chances and your odds of success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Right, because, gone are the days of hunting in denim and a buffalo print flannel shirt. Well,
Some of
Sam,
them.
look at Sam. He goes, that's because you've been riding in a cabbed tractor. You got to go there.
That's right.
No, I mean, there's effectiveness, but as technology has advanced, it's like, I want to be comfortable, and when you're comfortable through uncomfortable situations,
Yeah.
then it starts here, starts in the mind. Like, let's get our mind right, and then everything else just falls into place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So even if I'm sitting in a box blind, I'm still camoed out because, I'm preparing myself mentally for what I'm about to do.
When you don't want to be cold, right?
Yeah. My wife, she's like, I love seeing you in your hunting outfit. She's your outfit.
Your outfit.
Uniform.
Your
Does
uniform.
she make you like, hey, honey, can you go put on your hunting outfit?
Hey, babe, this one's for you.
You can tell a lot about a person just walking around. I mean, people will wear camo because they represent that, and to church or to dinner.
Yep.
And we do have a lot of exceptional pieces where, you can go out to dinner. And you
Yes.
can go out to around town, and if you get on the plane wearing some of our jackets, especially this Obscura Skyfall, you're probably going to get a shit ton of compliments. Like, oh, where is that? What is that? What is that? There's an enormous amount of shelf appeal in that Obscura Skyfall line. It just happens to have exceptional shelf appeal. That's the exact same camo pattern as the transitional that you're saying is the most effective pattern you've seen. It just has different colors in it.
What's your favorite?
Dude, I'm OG Highlander, man.
You are?
Yeah.
He loves the Highlander.
I do too.
Well, it's a badass camo pattern.
Yeah.
Why do you love Highlander so much?
I don't know, but
It just speaks to you.
yeah, as soon as
Well,
I
I
saw
can
it,
tell you that out of the original,
I mean, look at it.
out of the original 3 camouflage patterns that were extensively tested by the Department of Defense,
Yeah.
Number 1.
Highlander is still in play.
Really?
Yeah, it's our number 1 selling camo pattern. Yep.
What? How do you go concept to seeing it through? Like, was that a process that just took forever, or was it all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here, we're doing it?
Well, our inspiration was camouflage netting. It's the most effective passive concealment measure on the battlefield.
Yeah.
And I got to see all the different coalition units that were, some of them looked like absolute dog shit and some of them were effective, but the camo netting stretched over a vehicle or a sniper sight or a hide sight, and I got to see it from the air from a different observation point.
Yeah.
And so taking that 3-dimensional aspect of camo netting being spread with the fabric woven in and out and putting on a 2-dimensional surface was where it started.
That's pretty awesome.
And we were able, well, actually one of the 1099 contractors that I hired to help us get into spec for the DOD is still with Kryptek today now, full-time employee.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really?
He's, I call him our camo ninja because he can figure out, like, hey, I want camo on, pick a substrate, anything, and he'll figure out how to put it on there.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, what's on the horizon?
On the horizon
Yeah.
for Kryptek?
Yeah, and for you, there's a two-sided question on that.
Oh, well, for me, like short term, long term.
Yeah, hunting, family, personal.
Well, first of all, I just did a hunt this week that was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, and it was a Georgia plantation quail hunt. So freaking cool! It was a production, man, from the pointers to the cocker spaniels that were doing the retrieving to the Missouri foxtrotter horses and all the tack and gear that was used and everything. It was just like, this is incredible. Like, I seriously had an absolute blast. That was so cool. I got asked to go on this hunt by the CEO of Remington, and initially I was like, going all the way to Georgia to go shoot some quail? But, dude, it was an absolute production.
Yeah.
And they were wild birds. They weren't what they call pillowcase birds.
Yeah, shooken up and then planted.
They swing them around their head, and then they say they fall asleep, but they're knocked out, and then they put them on the ground. So just did that. What an experience. Super cool. I made a post on my Instagram, too. You should go like and comment.
Dude, I'll go like, comment, share.
And I did it all myself, too.
Congratulations.
I didn't chase, didn't help me or nothing.
Man, you're really growing up, Butch.
There's
I
the
appreciate
horizon.
that.
There's the horizon.
So I've got a hunt that's coming down the pipeline at the end of March, in the beginning of April. I'm actually super excited about as well. It's going to be more of an experience. So I'm going to England.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go hunt deer in the UK. And then we're going to go to Scotland and hunt deer in Scotland too.
Yeah.
So the Scotland trip is what kind of drove this whole thing. We won this hunt like in 2019, and it's been on the books, just been getting kicked down the road. More kegs. Party's starting. So we stood up a new distributor in the UK called Highland Outdoors, and somehow this came up, hey, we're coming over there. And so they asked us to add more days onto the trip. And then they said, we'd like you guys to come and hunt at this estate. And I don't have the estate memorized on it, but I looked it up, and it's from the 1600s.
Really?
Wow.
And then the third part of this, dude, is these deer that they have in the UK is shit that I didn't even know existed. They've got a Chinese water deer that has fangs that are like this long. It looks like saber-tooth tiger.
I've heard of them.
Wild.
I had never heard of them. And then this other thing called a muttjack or something, and it's got a different set of horns. Of course, then they've got red stag, and then they've got the roe deer. That was our initial target. So my wife and I are going, and it's turned into like a very meaningful business trip as well, because it's all going to be about this content that they're going to be able to capture on film and photo to further be able to tell the Kryptek story with like us actually there doing it.
Yep.
And hunting in a fashion in a way like they hunt. So they basically stalk around these estates, and it's like you're hunting on a farm, I think. And then you're sneaking around in the bushes and looking and stuff. I don't know yet, but it's going to be an experience.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
That's so cool.
So that hunt's coming up. I'm excited about that because we have enough time built into it to where we're going to be able to see like a lot of the historic, sites, castles, shit like that type of thing. I've been over there a few times when I was in the military, but I'm excited. My wife's excited about that. And then I've got a hunt in June in Africa, and that's going to be a super meaningful hunt. It's at a place called Rockwood Conservatory, and they have 354 rhinos on site.
Yeah.
And the hunting operation basically is what fuels the income to take care of these rhinos. And so this is a story that's been told, in years past. But the cool thing about this, the landing pad for this is going to be more of like almost a documentary type hunt, and it's going to go on Amazon Prime.
Oh, cool.
And
that
so
is awesome.
Dallas Safari Club's the primary lead sponsor on it, and then the CEO of Leopold, Bruce Pettit, is coming. The CEO of Remington, Ken Darcy, is coming along. I'm going, and then the CEO of Vista Outdoors, Jason Vanderbrink, is going. And so we're like the four, I guess, guys that are going to talk from an industry perspective, like giving back into conservation.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be an experience, a pretty cool camp. And also very purpose-driven. And then I don't know about fall yet because, the draw results and stuff aren't out.
Are you putting in for the $5 tags here?
Dude, I put in for years for that thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come here just to do that.
Yep.
And I know guys like there's this writer, Jon Snow. He's won that thing, I think, 2 or 3 times in the last 4 years. It pisses me off every time I'm look through them. I'm like Jon Snow.
Not again.
But I've never been lucky enough to draw one.
I'm gonna win.
It's all about attitude, dude.
Speak it into existence.
It's all about attitude.
Absolutely.
I put in Howl for Wildlife. Are you familiar with them?
No, I don't think I'm.
So Howl started out of the attack on California black bear.
Okay.
And then that spread to the state of Washington, spring bear stuff. And so howlforwildlife.org.
Howl, yeah.
Howl, HOWL, is they're uniting hunters in a different way. They created an action center that is every time. So if you, I'm not trying to throw Sportsman's Alliance under the bus, but the senator from Nebraska recently, he's like, I got 3,000 emails, but it said the exact same thing over and over, and it loses its meaning. Every time you howl at the action center for whatever state that you're going and getting active in, it's a personalized email to that representative of that state, every single one.
Is AI involved now?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
So I put in $100 for a 1 in a 500 chance of a guided mule deer hunt that's going to be filmed and taxidermies included in South Dakota. For $100, I was like, well, I'm going to support conservation. That's what I'm about.
And maybe win.
And no, I'm winning.
It's already done. He's winning it.
I've never shot a mule deer.
What?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
No. So I moved from Washington. So I got into hunting. My first big game animal was black bear. I was a high school football coach, and bear opened August 1st. Football started August 16th. And I was like, I guess I'm a bear hunter. That's what I'll do.
You're too busy otherwise.
Yeah. And so what happened is I was like, well, we're going to go about it. I ended up shooting whitetails and blacktails. Never killed a mule deer.
That is.
And then I moved to Texas. I'm like, well, how am I ever going to kill a mule deer?
They have mule deer in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Western
sure do.
Texas. I've actually been on some hunts in North the Canadian River Ranch, which I think is on the border of Texas and New Mexico.
Yeah.
Some really good mule deer.
Yeah.
But that's almost traumatizing to me. Like, that's my number one species, like, in the world to hunt is mule deer.
Well, here we are
Like
at the Mule Deer
That-
Foundation.
that's right.
Yeah, but
Just-
I have an incredible passion for mule deer hunting,
Yeah.
and I'm going to tell you why. I grew up on a ranch in southern Idaho, and mule deer season was sacred to my family.
Mm.
And it was also the excuse for a family reunion, basically, that happened every year for 2 weeks was mule deer camp.
Yeah.
And I'm talking aunts, uncles, like the whole kit and caboodle that came together. And my fondest memories in life were crafted around mule deer hunting with my family.
Wow.
And so it's extremely like ingrained and deep into my fiber.
Do you feel like you want to pass it on, teach me all about mule deer hunting?
I'll tell you what, you can put in. I'll give you all this stuff. Put in for some units in Idaho,
Yeah.
and if you draw, I promise you, we will take care of you.
Okay. Said it from the
We're gonna
man himself.
we're gonna swing for good units that have exceptional quantity of mule deer and also potential for a super meaningful to harvest a super mature, meaningful buck.
Deal. What weapon?
Well, we're going to probably go with a rifle to start with.
Okay.
We could, depending on your comfort level, an early season archery mule deer hunt is going to be a logistically more challenging.
Right.
And your probability of success is also going to diminish. You have to have a lot of time to dedicate to those hunts.
Yeah.
And you can't come up for, a month. I mean, you might be able to.
I would like.
But it takes an enormous amount of expendable time to really,
Right.
do those types of deals. And you can still have a great experience. You probably see some great bucks, and you'll have like a successful hunt might be some blown stocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, rifle.
Yeah. Okay. Done.
Done deal.
Done.
I'm glad you shared that story with us. That's good stuff about the family.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's all
It
really
means a lot.
meaningful.
It means a lot.
When I was in both countries, Afghanistan and Iraq, I can remember engaging Al Qaeda and saying on the engagement, "That's for missing for missing opening day of mule deer season." On the tape.
This was for mule deer, you mother truckers.
I actually probably just said opening day of hunting season, but
Yeah.
that was the essence of it.
Yeah.
My grandfather was an exceptional outdoorsman, exceptional horseman, exceptional rancher, and we filled the freezers with mule deer, even though there was cattle.
Mm.
The cattle were for market, that was for selling. The mule deer were for feeding the family.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. Sam comes from a ranching family.
Yes,
nice.
sir. Yep. It's all I never known.
Well, good for you. My grandfather told me when I was very young, we're out breaking ice earlier in the morning, like 20 below zero, and he said, "Butch, you need to go do something else with your life besides just doing this." My grandfather on the other side, on my dad's side, was a first sergeant in the 82nd Airborne in World War II. And so I got installed with this passion for the military and service to our country. So long story short with this, now when I daydream about like Kryptek being this juggernaut, huge brand that's just shedding capital into my pockets, I'm going to go get a ranch someday.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
What state would you get it in?
You know what you have to look at is you have to look at the landowner, the way landowner tags are set up by each state. So Idaho has a draw system. And for every section that you have to have 640 acres before you can put in for a landowner tag.
Okay.
Right? And so it's not as exceptionally favorable as, like, say, Nevada, I think, does a really good job. They come in and they do a head count. And for every 100 of whatever it is, pronghorn or mule deer or elk, you get a landowner tag. So there's different ways that the states do it. And if you're going to invest back into a working, hopefully, cattle ranch, but that's also for hunting, you have to understand like how easy is it going to be to actually take advantage of this.
Right. We were talking to Corey Daniels, the CEO of Dead Nuts Outdoors, and he was talking about New Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's where he wants to
Yeah.
buy because of the landowner tax.
Yeah, New Mexico. I had some really good friends that had a beautiful ranch in Montana, and after they have a really similar, program like Idaho. After not being able to go and hunt, they sold the ranch and bought another ranch in New Mexico specifically for that, and they get allocated like a very healthy amount of landowner tax.
Yeah, man, so
Exciting.
cool.
Exciting.
Man, I wish I had more time to hunt. I wish I didn't have to work, or I didn't have to do other things to make money. Like if we just got to live and hunt and provide.
What if you could? What if like everybody lives and breathes for hunting season, but like what if hunting season was like all year long?
Yes.
But it's never going to be that way. You got to go into a global ability to go hunt. New Zealand's hunting season's on right in the middle of the summer here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get on the other side of the hemisphere. But I wish I had more time to go hunt too.
Yeah.
Yeah. My most meaningful hunts have been with my family, with my wife and kids. I've got to hunt with a lot of exceptional individuals, amazing people, great adventures, like awesome experiences. But my favorite hunts have been when I wasn't pulling the trigger.
Yes.
They've been when somebody I care about extremely and deeply, and I'm there helping and coaching and mentoring and helping them with everything. Those have been my best hunts.
That right there is you articulating why hunting is so powerful.
Yeah.
Christmas morning, getting gifts is cool, but when you give a gift to somebody else and you get to watch them open that up and the excitement and joy on their face, that's like, oh, dude, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, I think, for someone that doesn't have a family yet, doesn't have kids yet. But once you experience it, you'll see that that's part of the cycle of the hunting culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can't imagine, like, what I would do with my grandparents and my uncles and my dad. Like, I look back at that and I'm like, if it weren't for hunting, I don't know, like, how I would have had a relationship. And other things too. We fished and did other things and stuff, but like, that was the center of our family nucleus.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything more important than coming together in hunting camp.
Yep. Yeah.
And the memories and the laughs and everything, they're priceless.
Well, it's like Sam and I became instant best friends. I told him when he took me on that hog hunt, I looked at him, I go, you realize you just met your best friend.
Did you say, I love you, man?
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah. There was a lot of hugs, and I'm like, all right, I met this guy at the dollar store.
Is that where you guys met?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's not a joke.
No.
No, sir.
Dude, so on the chapter with the sayings, you need to have in quotes, I met my best friend at the dollar store, end quote.
Yeah, I met him one weekend. The next weekend, I had him on the ranch, and he had never rode an ATV before. And a thunderstorm just
Dude,
came
when
through.
you say new, I mean, we're talking like
I'm new.
like simple things like riding an ATV.
Yeah, I
Yes.
said, get on, and he's looking at me like, and I said, oh, you've never rode an ATV? And he goes, no. And I said, well, keep up.
So think about this, like all these guys that are wanting to get into hunting, there's an absolute like plethora of folks that are moving into our community.
Yep.
And they're moving there because of the quality of life.
Absolutely.
And they also appreciate the political aspects as well. They're political refugees is what they are.
Yes.
Yep.
But then they want to get into the things like we're talking about, like, hey, they want to get into hunting and they want to do these other things. Can you imagine like the barrier of entry for somebody that's coming out of Portland or out of Seattle and they've not had these little skill sets that we just take for granted?
Absolutely. I mean, the first hurdle is the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what are we doing here? A leap of faith for a lot of folks,
Yeah. Dude, after Black Lives Matter, the Idaho hunting licenses and tags like skyrocketed. They had to start to limit the number of non-resident tags.
Mm-hmm.
And I was super busy running. I came off, I think it was an elk hunt. It was an elk hunt. And I took the elk to the processor because I didn't have time to mess with it. And I had to get like recocked and off to a new thing. Normally, I would cut it up myself and do all that, but I was in a big rush. And so I called the guy up, and he's like, yeah, I'll get you in because I'm a friend of his. But I'm like slam packed, you know, a slam packed. And so I went in and talked to him, and he goes, yeah, the Fish and Game came in here, and they were checking on, you know, the numbers and all my paperwork and everything. I was talking to the officer, and he said that they confiscated 2 moose from guys that were new and had their elk tags on them. And I was like,
man.
are you shitting me?
Really?
That's like new level of freshness. And
Absolutely.
you know, it's like they literally thought that they had done the right thing.
Yeah, they were trying to do their best.
Man.
I was like, so the Fish and Game guy told him that, and he was talking about why he's so busy, and it's because all these guys were going out and public land and filling their freezers, right? And so that he's getting slammed, and then he tells me, yeah, it's all these new guys. They're just poured out of these woke cities and states. I mean, I think that Oregon's, you know, Eastern Oregon needs to join Idaho. And
Well, there's that whole Cascade Mountain thing. Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon is a state,
You
and
think,
then you have
dude,
the west of the mountains.
you know, a lot of hippies moved to the West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, I can recall when I've been over there, like these old like hippie vans and stuff in people's yards with old homes and stuff. I just wonder how much of that is percolated into what we're dealing with now.
You know, it's kind of it's a snake's tongue. It comes from the same, but it splits because you got the hippies that are truly into the organic lifestyle and the holistic and the natural and the return to the roots of humanity, which hunting and homesteading and farming and ranching and like that is the core of it. But then you have the other side where I don't know what it is, where they hate anything that is not in their lane.
I just don't understand how these cities. I used to spend time in. They're beautiful cities, right?
Yeah.
And now they have imploded.
Yeah.
Portland specifically.
Well, you know, there was a new country, new nation in Seattle there for a while.
Dude.
Come on. Come on, John.
And when they were like, yeah, we're an Capitol Hill autonomous zone, I'm like, you're telling me that the state of Washington National Guard, the governor, like, well, he sucks, but like America's not going to be like, you can't just establish a new, because that's really what it was, is declaring independence from America at that point.
It's bizarre.
It was cuckoo.
The whole defund the police thing and that whole Black Lives Matter movement and ripping statues and all that was just like asinine.
Yeah. Weatherford has a Civil War Confederate soldier statue on the town square. And
They didn't rip it down.
Tried to.
Okay, so I didn't live there at the time, but
Yeah, it was
They tried to.
Yeah, there was a group going after it, and it brought a lot of crazies out, of course, you know, but it didn't get removed.
Well, you know, that was a part of our history, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a most amazing thing is the confusion of words. So the idea of what a liberal is, the root word of liberate, is to set free.
Yeah.
Those dumb assholes.
Let's set free people rather than, you know, restrict them. It's confusion, and confusion's confusion's of the devil. We'll leave it at that. Brother, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's gone by. I just looked at my watch and realized I got another deal here coming down the pipeline. But I enjoyed the conversation, guys. I appreciate you guys repping Kryptek down there in beautiful Westford, Texas.
Absolutely.
And the Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
And,
Reverse pioneers.
Reverse pioneering is, I'm all about where this book too as well. That's going to be insightful. But thanks for your time. I will give you what draw to put in for in Idaho.
Okay.
I'd love to have you up if you're lucky enough to draw.
Yeah. Blessed enough. I live a blessed life.
Yeah,
We're
it
gonna
sounds
get
like
it.
it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. Remember that you can never outgive good, as mentorship is conservation. Go to kryptek.com and go check out their new line that's going to be releasing this summer and fall and everything. Be a part of the movement of freedom, patriotism, and support companies that support you and stand with you. So thank you so much for Butch. Thanks, Sam, for being here, guys, live from the Kryptek booth at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City. Be blessed, freedom on, and as always, stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast and want to support the show, you can always like, share, subscribe, and leave a rating as it helps us share our mission of mentorship is conservation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Soul Seekers Nation as we transform lives through primal adventure. If you want to get more connected with the podcast, check out the Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group, as I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. So stay tuned and stay soulful.